Hey y'all, welcome back to Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. It is September 13th, 2024, and we're fixing to go check eggs with, this is our group of production reds. Here is actually an Isa Brown hen that slipped into the production red pen. Actually, one afternoon we had let all our hens out to there's another one out to kind of free range, and there's two separate flocks of about 30 hens each. And when we let them all out to free range that evening, when they went back in, they kind of went back willy-nilly, random, scattered to their own pens. And so we got some variety then. This house was all production reds, but a couple of the Isa Browns ended up in here, and I see there's actually one of the gray feathered, we've been calling them Americanas, so kind of like an Easter egger back there. And I think there's even a white leghorn in here. So we're gonna take this egg basket. Y'all, this is so neat. This egg basket came from my husband's grandfather's place, and so it's actually an authentic vintage egg basket, and it holds a lot of eggs, and the design of it keeps the eggs from clinking together and bumping each other. We actually don't have enough hens that we fill this basket, but it's still a great basket to collect eggs in. It's better than anything else I have to collect eggs in. There's the one that I said we're calling an Americana, so maybe an Easter egger, but an Americana. There's the leghorn, and there's actually a second one right there that matches the gray feathered one. There's one of the Isa Browns. So, and there's another Isa Brown. So we are going to pick up the eggs, but what I wanted to tell you about in today's video is about the color of the eggshells, and something that I really find fascinating. It's really kind of a simple concept, but you know, basically we can get eggs from our hens in a range of shell colors, but kind of maybe four typical shell colors would be kind of our common experience with raising hens for egg production. So a lot of the eggs are brown shelled, and that's what we've got in this pen. So some brown shells. Here's a great example of one, and these are actually a real pale brown. In here I can't really get you a true sense of the color, but it's a real pale brown. And so this is likely from the production reds. This is what we've been seeing from them. This is one of the Isa Browns compared to one of the production reds here. So the Isa Browns feathering is a lighter, much lighter red feathering, and these production reds, their feathering is more of almost like a mahogany burgundy. But interestingly enough, those production reds and these Isa Browns both have lineage of Rhode Island reds in them. So that's kind of neat. So there's one of the production reds there. Actually going to try to get back in this corner, which generally I struggle a little bit to get back in there. But okay, so I did say white and brown shells are kind of the most common experience we have with shell colors. So what's interesting about those two, and then we're going to talk about two more for just a moment, but what's interesting with those two shell colors is actually the egg itself, the eggshell itself. It's okay, girl. Turn around. I'm going to turn the camera around here, y'all. So the eggshell itself is actually white inside and all the way through. And the brown color that gets on the outside of the eggshell for the brown eggs is a bloom or a coating. Well, it's not the bloom. The bloom is another thing, but it's a coating that the hen applies to the outside of the egg. So that's really interesting. So, and then there is a bloom at the end of the hen making the egg, which is a natural coating that seals the pores on the eggshell and makes it basically food safe. Mother Nature's way of making the egg food safe. The hen accomplishes that when she completes laying the egg. An eggshell has about 17,000 pores on its surface, and so that bloom, that coating that the hen applies at the end of egg production, actually seals off those pores. So as long as we don't wash that bloom away, our egg is considered food safe at room temperature, like sitting on the counter, until it gets washed. But if you take it in and wash it, then you've washed the bloom off. So that's why here in America we're accustomed to eggs being kept in the refrigerator, because they are washed. So once they're washed and the bloom is taken away, then those pores are unsealed, and that's when like bacteria could get into the eggshell. So that's kind of the lowdown on that. But the other coloring of eggs that we are somewhat familiar with are blue and green eggs, and they're kind of considered a novelty, you know, and there's certain breeds that lay blue or green tinted eggs. In fact, those gray feathered ones back in that house are Americanas, and they lay, I think those girls are laying kind of a green colored egg for us. We've got a Marin here. Let me try to show you through the chicken run fence. This one, our camera struggles to focus when we have the chain link involved, but that's one of the Marins. She's kind of a gray feathered, and we've got some black copper Marins closer up by the building. We've got a white hen that also came in with our Americanas. We've got some different brainstorms on maybe what her breed is exactly. This is that gray feathered Marin. So her variety has a particular name. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. These are some more of the Isa Browns right here. This one and the one behind her. And then that actually is a Rhode Island Red right there. So, and then there's Puffy Cheeks. So sorry, we'll go on around because those just are not very good pictures through our chain link here where our chickens have their chicken run. There is a possibility that white hen, we're wondering, does she have some American breeze in her? And in fact, one of our viewers, shout out to Jeff B. Jeff asked that question. He's raising some American breeze, and they can be used for meat production. And even these, you know, these heavy-bodied dual-purpose chickens, like these Marins, could also be used for meat production too. We raise Cornish Rock cross meat chickens over in another building for meat production, but we're gonna go in here. Now here's another gray one, just like those gals over in the other pen. Okay, so we're gonna go over into their building here. And so I mentioned the blue and the green tinted eggs. So what's interesting about those, and very similar to the brown-shelled eggs, being that with the brown-shelled, you know, they're white eggshells inside, and then the brown is a coating that's on the outside of the egg that gives it the brown color. With blue and green eggs, those eggs are blue throughout. If you crack open a green egg, inside the shell is going to be a blue color. And so blue and green eggs are both actually blue egg shells throughout. Let's get the camera turned on these gals. So they're actually blue eggs throughout, and then the green is the color we get after the hen applies a coating of color to the outside of the egg. So I just find that fascinating. Like with the brown eggs, you know, that if you happen to just notice that one day, or take the time to notice that your brown-shelled egg on the inside is white-shelled. And if you have blue and green eggs from your flock, if we take time to look at the insides of them, they're both going to be blue inside. So some pretty birds in this flock. These black copper Marins I'm really amazed at. They're our first experience with them, and they just have the most beautiful iridescent sheen. That's a solid black chicken. Black beak, black comb, black legs. Okay. Oh, and I know there's an egg in here, and she just got in there. I was hoping to get to show you that one as well, because there's a brown egg and there's a white egg. So she may be, yeah, see, she's actually like turning that egg.